Hey guys, wanted to go ahead and do a random video here, but basically what I did was I went through every single popular IEM reviewer, and I went through the IEMs that I have, or that I know, and I deleted everything else that I don't have, right? And I basically did a calibration thing. I basically marked whether I agreed with their review or whether I disagreed with it, whether I felt they ranked it too high or whether I didn't care for it. So, and then I wanted to make a report on it just for fun. So in this case, this is Jayaudio, right? So
this is the super mix for the new quad from SimGot.
Basically, as an example, he ranks the Mystic 8 as S or S tier. So to me, I disagree with that. I think that's ranked too high. I didn't care for that IEM. He liked RSV Mark 1. He had great things to say about it. I put agree on that, right? So this is, as I go through it, this is what I did for Jayaudio. Now, he had a lot more IEMs, a lot more expensive ones, but I didn't have those, right? So these are only the ones that I have that, you know, or I've tested, and then I could get feedback on. This is Honest Audiophile. So Honest Audiophile, he has a weird grading system, and so I just calibrate it so that it makes sense to me. But basically, there were two problems with his rating system. First is he ranks it a little bit differently. He doesn't have an SABCF. He has this, he calls it excellent, delicious, capable. So to me, excellent means like kind of like S tier, delicious is like A tier or something, and then capable is like kind of like C tier or something, right? And not only that, he had a lot of crap ton of IEMs I've never heard of before. Basically, there's just like a bunch of IEMs I've never heard before. So these are only IEMs that I actually have, or I've tested, or you know, or returned, or trashed, or whatever. And these were my overall takes, right? So in this case, just going over this, like RSV Mark II, he liked it. I like that IEM too. You know, I actually heard that. I have RSV Mark I, but I've heard Mark II actually at CanJam. Hype 4, he thought it was excellent, and I said I kind of agree. You know, I disagree, but I get it. That's an IEM that makes a great first impression. Let's go over some things where I disagreed, right? He had Singolo ranked as delicious. And I said, no, I disagree. That's ranked too high. He had Eroso ranked as delicious. I said, no, I disagree. That's ranked too high. So as you can see, these are my ratings for Honest Audiophile, right? Okay, now this is fresh reviews. Now it's kind of interesting, actually. So he had a lot of... Now, keep in mind that his rating score is based on gaming.
Call of Duty, the slides, the footsteps just have a little bit more shaved off in the low end.
And I don't care about gaming. I just care about, like, what do I think, right? So his rating scale was also super, like, just hard to read because it was like the colors were all off. So I just basically took it over here and made it my own. So here is what he ranked it: S tier, A tier, B tier, and C tier. And the rest he felt weren't as important. So it's actually kind of interesting because I actually do find I agree on a lot of things here. You know, like kind of like I like Dunakima 2, I disagree. I think it's ranked too low. But I would agree, like, yeah, Astrals are awesome. T-Pros are great. You know, Volume S is pretty damn good. You know, Hype 4, I could see that being pretty good. But then I also felt like he ranked some things too high, right? See, he had Odyssey as like B+. I don't really like Odyssey, right? Just personally. So I disagreed. So this is the rankings for fresh reviews. Then this is here.
Thursday in Japan. Today is June 25th, 2026.
HBB reviews. Now, his rating score is random, and like it's like this box and colors, and some of them are more green. Green means it's like pretty damn good. Blue is like it's really, really good. Yellow means it's average or mid. And so I kind of did I made my own extrapolation of what his rating score is, and I don't have many of the IEMs he has. He has all these like stupid expensive IEMs. But of the ones I do have, this is my general thoughts, and I actually find it kind of interesting that we do quite agree on quite a few, right? But I don't agree. He really liked Camper Silver Flash. I disagreed. I didn't really care for it. I think he ranked that too high. But then, you know, he liked Daybreak. He liked Kiwi K4. He liked T-Pro. He liked, you know, and I agree with that. Now, Martillo, he ranked it as green and blue. Green and blue means he thought he was really, really good. I disagreed. I didn't care for that IEM. I thought it was ranked too high. So this was my calibration. But again, I don't have as much. In the end, I only had like 21, but these were his top 100, he said, right? And so out of his top 100, I only had like 20 of his IEMs. So that's just something to note. The data might have been different if I actually had the rest of those IEMs. Here's Super Review.
I think in a lot of ways, this is Campfire audio at its best. When I reviewed the...
So super reviews is actually, it was a little bit tricky because sometimes he ranks them in stars, like 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, but then sometimes he gives them a grade of A, B, C, D, F. But when I actually find it kind of shocking that I actually do agree with him quite a bit. When I actually look here, there's a lot I actually agree with him. And I thought I would disagree more with him because I didn't agree with his ranking of Blessing 3, which he gave 5 stars. I didn't agree with his ranking of Moondrop Land S, which he gave an S tier. But as I look at the rest of the IEMs he's ranked, I actually find that I actually do have a lot in common with this guy. There's a like, look at this. I agree. Like, I agree on everything. Like, he gave Defiant a good score. He thought the Zen's Top Pro, he gave it like a 3 stars. And then he was like, it's alright. And I agree. I actually agree on that. Truthier Pure, he gave it like 5 stars. I kind of agree on that. Unicron, he gave it a D. I agree. That's not a good IEM. You know, Fission, he said it was okay, like a C. I agree. You know, Twister Woodnote, he thought it was pretty good. I agree. Land 2, Pop, 3 stars and 2s. I agree. Those are not good IEMs, you know, or not that great. You know, things like that. Now, Lecture SO8, he gave it 3 stars. I said, I kind of agree because I actually do like that IEM a lot, but I understand from his point of view why he wouldn't like it. You know, especially because he's really all about technicals and things like that. Elysian Pilgrim, he gave it 3 stars. That's not a 3-star IEM for me. I disagree, and I feel like he ranked it too low. So this was my take on Super Review. Now when we go to Prime Audio Review.
Today I'm reviewing the Moritz Aura in-ear monitors.
I disagreed on everything he ever wrote. But the thing is, it's because if you look at his website, he ranks it as 4.5 stars, 4 stars, 4.5 stars, 4 stars, 4.5, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4.5, 4.5. So what you start to understand, and this is actually my point I want to say about Prime Audio Reviews, his ratings don't mean shit. Don't look at that's not what you look at. What you want to do is watch the video, because his true review is actually in the way he describes it. I make a joke about it, but I think it's true. It's like he says everything is good. But when you actually really listen to how he's describing the IEMs, you start to realize, no, that isn't a good IEM. You know what I mean? But he's like just holding back. It's kind of like you ask a friend and you're like, is she cute? And then he goes, well, yeah, she's tall. That's how he reviews. But then that's how you know it's a bad IEM. And that's why he's awesome, because every single time that he actually like kind of says something really bad about the IEM, like, oh, it's a little too lean, it's a little this, it's a little that, that's when it's like, that's actually a bad IEM. You know what I mean? And you kind of understand his lingo, but you get the feeling like he's kind of like he's kind of holding back, you know, but you understand like he has ears, like he knows it's bad. If you actually listen, whenever he says the word lean like too many times on an IEM, back the fuck off, because that's a bad IEM. So ignore his rating scores here, right?
Howdy, everybody. This is Omar, your Audio Amigo.
Next person I want to talk about, this is Audio Amigo. Now, he's hard to do an evaluation on, because what the fuck is this rating score? It's called, you should buy this. Then he says, this is brilliant, which I have no idea what this means. And then he goes, but I like it. And then there's like these other categories, which I don't know how to, and it's like, how do you grade that? Because that's not, maybe that was intentional. That's it. Maybe that was his entire point. But it's kind of hard to evaluate like whether he really, really likes the IEM or not. It's very vague. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I found that I would kind of agree on his takes. Like kind of agree. There were only a few times I would really disagree. Like he really liked the Star City 5 Pro. I hated that IEM. That is a really shouty mess when I heard it. Soundnotes V1 and V2. Those are not good IEMs. Like, yes, they're kind of good for like, you know, for $20, but they're not that good. Like, you know what I mean? So I said, those should be ranked lower. You know what I mean? But things like that. So overall, this is kind of what I thought about Audio Amigo. Practiphile.
Past 10K peaks where I don't really hear.
So I had to kind of separate out his groups. So he groups them by $20 groups, $60 groups, $120 groups, $150, $499, and $1,000. So I found I pretty much disagreed with him on the $60 tiers. I felt like he ranked them too high. Like, I don't care about Nice Hack tiers. I don't care about Key Flying Clean SV. I didn't care about Apple's Last. Like, those are not very good, right? In my opinion. Like, those are not even in contention, in my opinion. But I would agree with him more at the $500 mark. He liked Software Studio 4. He liked Elysian Pilgrim. He liked Astral. He liked Volume S. He liked Cranial Reference. He liked Mangar T Pro. Like, the more expensive we get, then I find, like, yeah, I agree with you. But I would find that, even on, like 150, like, I felt like Truthier Nova was kind of like, yeah, I could see how that you would like that, right? But in general, like, this is where I agreed with him more, like around the $400 price point. So that's that. That's his rankings. This is Jaytiss, Jaytiss. So,
Erond Reconnaissance 5.
The crazy thing about Jaytiss, man, he's got a massive library. He's got like pretty much like so many IEMs. But the thing is, what's crazy is like, I've never disagreed with someone so much on almost everything. So as an example, let's go over this, right? I feel like he ranks IEMs too low for me. Like, he puts Civica Q as D. Civica Q is not a D. You know, he put Dunu Titan S as a D. That's not a D to me, right? He put Truthier Gate as an F. That's not an F. That, even though I don't personally like the Truthier Gate, that's not an F. That's a little bit better than F. He put Moondrop Lan as F. I disagree. Now, I don't like Moondrop Lan as much, but that is not an F. That's basically, to me, that's closer to a C. Etymodic ER2XR, he put as F. That's not an F. Apple Magic 1, he put as, Truthier Olo, he put as F. I'm like, dude, no. Like, Moondrop Chew, I think 2, he put as F. That's not an F. It's at best, or at worst, it's like a C. You know what I mean? So anyway, I found that there were many situations where he ranked things too low towards the tail end, but then I would find that he ranked things too high at the top end. Like, Zegot Horizon is not S tier. Come on, man. That's not S tier. To me, it's not, right? But to him, it is. He puts Binary EP321 as S tier. No freaking way. For me, it's not, right? So these were I found that I disagreed with him on pretty much everything here, at least with my personal taste, right? Next person I'll talk about is Listener.
Yes, it's true. Apple has finally released their own EQ implementation to be used with the AirPods lineup.
So I found it actually kind of interesting that I actually did agree with him on many things. Like, it's like, this is kind of uncanny. Like, we were agreeing, like, I like Reference, I like Pure, I like Software Volume S, I like AirPods Pro 2, I like Zegot Lush, I like RSV Mark 2. I didn't like Mega 5 EST, so I said he ranked that too high. I like Final E500, I like Daybreak. This is crazy, dude. I like IEM, like, we like a lot of the same things. I feel like he ranked YU9Q a little low. Like, to me, I feel like it should be a little higher. T Pro, he put it as like this. I don't know what that means, but I think it should be ranked a little bit higher than that. Andromeda 2020, he put that. I feel like it should be ranked a little bit higher than that. Kiwi Ear Orchestra Lite, he put that as almost like an F. Like, that looks like all red. I feel like that's ranked a little too low. But in general, but the other thing is, I agreed with him on certain things. Like, he did not like Arcanus. I hated Arcanus. We don't like Arcanus. He hated Moondrop Blessing 3. I hated Blessing 3. He hated Martillo. I hated like, we hate the same stuff. You know what I mean? It's kind of interesting. So he hated the Truthier Blue 02. Dude, I hated that too. We're in sync. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, we're pretty much in sync. So that's interesting about me and Listener. The other thing I want to talk about is Resolve. I was looking through here.
What I do have lots to say about is the shell. This is very, very, very good.
And I actually do find that in general that we agree in quite a bit here, you know? Now, he put Cranial Reference as one of the highest in his rankings, and to me, I disagree. That's not that good. Like, it's good, but it's not that good. So I said it was ranked too high. Dusk, he likes Dusk, and I think Dusk is great, agree. He ranked Mega 5 ESC is quite high. To me, it's not that high, right? But as we go through this is kind of what's going on. So it's interesting because when we look at the data, like, basically, let's go through the images here. I found that in general, as I said before, I had the most in common with Listener and with Super Reviews and with Resolve, and ironically, quite a bit with HBB and Audio Amigo. Let's keep going here. Overall alignment is right here. There's Listener, there's Super Reviews, there's Resolve, Honest Audiophile, HBB, Audio Amigo. I had the least in common with Jayaudio. I had the least in common with Prime Audio, but remember, with Prime Audio, you can't look at his reviews numbers. You have to look at the video and just listen to what he's saying, because that's where you get most of the information. Jaytiss, I had like a 69% negative tag on there. So there's something, we just are so different, right? Who do I agree with more and who do I disagree with more? You know, I find in general, I agree more with, like, obviously these guys on the left, and I disagree more with these guys on the right. But again, even though Prime Audio is shown on the right, he is actually someone I agree with a lot. But it's not shown in his rating, because all his ratings are 4.5 and 5. You know what I mean? That's not reliable. But when you actually watch the video, he'll tell you if an IEM is bad, but he'll say it in a certain way.
That's crazy. There are good and bad sides to this kind of treble tuning. The good, first,
You know what I mean? He's really reliable for me. Then this is kind of interesting. Some of the IEMs I liked, other people like too. Like people like the Studio 4, they like the Astral, they like the Dunakima 2, they like the Sigma Cube. But there are IEMs that I liked that that I hated that other people liked. So the Moondrop Blessing 3, the Eloa Ultra, the EPZ P40, the CCA Phoenix. Like I didn't care for those IEMs. I actually did test those out actually at Hi-Fi Con. I didn't like them. And then the key takeaway is that listener and super reviews, they seem to align the most with my tastes. Jaytiss and IEM, they align the least. I agree less with reviewers as price increases, and everyone has different strengths. I use them, each reviewer, for different things. And this isn't about who's right, it's about who predicts what I enjoy. You know what I mean? So I just thought it was kind of a fun experiment.